Joe Biden has made serious attempts to rebuild the bridge burned between the US and France over the AUKUS row. Here is the US president's remarkable statement after a fence-mending phone call with French President Emmanuel Macron. US President Joe Biden moved to cool tensions in a highly anticipated phone call with France's Emmanuel Macron on Wednesday. The move comes after the AUKUS security pact between Australia, the UK and US erupted in a major diplomatic row with the French, who lost out on a multi-billion euros deal with Australia as a result of the deal. The phone call ended a week-long standoff between the leaders, during which France recalled its ambassador to the US. A joint statement issued after the call shows President Biden extending an olive branch, promising not to do any more deals behind Paris's back, as well as providing additional aid to the French-led anti-terrorist operations in the Sahel. Experts have said the statement was remarkably conciliatory on the American side, including a commitment from Mr. Biden to travel to Europe in October to meet with President Macron. However, no official apology was included, nor any practical remedy. AUKUS will still go ahead as planned. The statement in full. President Emmanuel Macron of the French Republic and President Joe Biden of the United States of America spoke on the 22nd of September, at the request of the latter, in order to discuss the implications of the announcement on the 15th of September. The two leaders agreed that the situation would have benefited from open consultations among allies on matters of strategic interest to France and our European partners. President Biden conveyed his ongoing commitment in that regard. The two leaders have decided to open a process of in-depth consultations, aimed at creating the conditions for ensuring confidence and proposing concrete measures toward common objectives. They will meet in Europe at the end of October in order to reach shared understandings and maintain momentum in this process. President Emmanuel Macron has decided that the French ambassador will return to Washington next week. He will then start intensive work with senior US officials. President Biden reaffirms the strategic importance of French and European engagement in the Indo-Pacific region, including in the framework of the European Union's recently published strategy for the Indo-Pacific. The United States also recognizes the importance of a stronger and more capable European defense that contributes positively to transatlantic and global security and is complementary to NATO. In the framework of their joint fight against terrorism, the United States commits to reinforcing its support to counter-terrorism operations in the Sahel conducted by European states. Diplomats on both sides will hope this serves to quell the fury which was escalating on the continent. A French government spokesperson before the call said it would be a chance to clarify the way in which the announcement was made and how the US could re-engage in its relationship with an ally. Mr. Biden had been seeking to speak to his French counterpart since the weekend, but Mr. Macron remained ominously silent. Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian called it a stab in the back, and said Mr. Biden was echoing the actions of Donald Trump. He said, "This brutal, unilateral and unpredictable decision reminds me a lot of what Mr. Trump used to do. I am angry and bitter. This isn't done between allies. It's really a stab in the back." Sources said Washington was taken aback at the veracity of France's anger, but recognized something needed to be done to protect the Biden administration's reputation. Bernard Guetta, a Macronist MEP, described Mr. Biden's sidelining of France as a blunder, amounting to a strategic blindness that will only benefit the Chinese. Rumors began to dominate headlines that France was considering pulling out of the UN or NATO, but those have been denied. Time will tell if the call between the leaders will put the row to bed once and for all. However, leaders from across the EU had moved to side with France, with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen saying, "One of our member states has been treated in a way that is not acceptable, so we want to know what happened and why. You first of all clarify that, before you keep on going with business as usual."